quick reminder, all of our articles and intel drops can be found on our website at CBDC Intel. Oregon, you can follow Bill's Twitter at Oculum Labs. Contact Bill personally on his Telegram Bill Suite 1. Follow our official Twitter, our news Twitter, and our Telegrams for updates, comms, public news, and chat. Please bookmark and check our social media accounts weekly for updates. Note an updated FAQ, our gatekeeper list for 2025, and our full Intel drop link list, 172, has been posted on our website. We have also added a new social site on Bastion. A call to action, we are asking our readers to share this Intel drop on social media, Twitter/X, Telegram, TikTok, and Facebook. We have been censored, shadow banned, and attacked for over 2 years. Without your help, no one would find our Intel drops. Our team and our mission: join our efforts to stop Obsidian and to protect you and your family. And now for Intel Drop 73 Spiritual Warnings: Love and Light Agents, Soul Capture, and Astral Travel. The following was collated from Intel sent to our team from Gideon. As always, all Intel sent by Gideon is edited by Michael for clarity and for obfuscation purposes. See Adversarial Stylometry. Gideon, we've had some really deep discussions the past week. Comms finally cooperated with us for once, so I wanted to get an Intel drop out related to these topics. First, I'll cover some of the recent political events. If anyone wants to see confirmations of our Intel drops, just have a look at the Drudge Report every day. The headlines are surreal. They read like what our Intel drops said 6 months to a year ago. Now it's happening. It's all playing out like we thought. You said Trump is there to collapse the US, and he is.
Yes, and his extensive agreements with top tech companies, his AI measures, all clearly support the cabal's agenda.
Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation is a big deal to me because she's come out swinging hard against Israel and Trump. I'm assuming she was threatened.
At face value, yes, we could safely assume that. She would have been told her family, and her life is in danger if she continues forward. She indicated that. She is a symbol of what happens if you stand up against Trump or the cabal.
Before I forget, we took down Intel Drop 68 that showed the whistleblower photos, and we closed applications for Obsidian status change and to join our team. Can you address why? We have a waiting list open. Do you think we'll open applications again in the future?
Yes, that is in response to increased escalation against us. It is a mitigation effort. We are seeing a variety of security issues, so this is a response to that, in our hopes the cabal will back down. Protecting our existing team is our top priority. The whistleblowers are also seeing greater risks in converting accounts to sovereign status, so for now, they wanted to take a pause on that. We may open applications again in the future, so a waiting list is available. I would encourage those who are truly dedicated to this fight to consider joining that list.
Let's move on now to the main topic of this Intel drop. Some of what we're going to get into is coming from your guide. For those who don't know, she's a spiritual teacher, someone we've brought up before.
She is very educated on spiritual issues, better than I am, so I am happy to impart or share things she has shared with me. She also works with children, gifted children, and she receives a lot of her own knowledge from them. She says the cabal's filter of deception is not fully installed into children until they reach the age of 7 or 8, and if they avoid social media and tech, their abilities are retained longer. Some of the children are warning her about what is coming. In any case, much of what I will say is coming indirectly from her.
That's incredible to hear. I've also been doing my own research on the topics we're going to get into. There's an entire niche known as the love and light industry. It's just this whole part of the internet really focused on spiritual topics. You might call it New Age, but it feels like it's moved beyond that. Am I getting this right? There's a company called Gaia, similar to Netflix, that promotes a lot of these things, a lot of documentaries. That's sort of a place to start. Then on YouTube you have tons of these people, channelers, starseeds, astral travelers, people who fashion themselves as spiritually gifted or insiders, and so on. It's something we've touched on but not really focused on much either, but you said your guide has been talking about it more with you.
You got it right. I would call it an evolution of the New Age movement. She warned me the cabal has infiltrated this movement extensively. She said many of the people being deceived by it are people who we need to fight what is coming, but they are being compromised by this movement. These are good-hearted people seeking answers, but they are being deceived by cabal operators. We need them, but we are losing them to this movement. We also need to warn them, but I fear this intel drop and our efforts will not reach them.
We've gotten into some of this in our past. The cosmic rules are about to change series editor's note. Scroll to the bottom of this page to view the series. Would you say that? Anyone reading this needs to share this intel drop, by the way. If people don't take action, they don't have a right to complain when the reset happens.
I have talked about it in those entries, yes, and over time, I am getting better informed on the topic. If I could go back to those entries, those intel drops, I would probably update a few things, not many things, but a few, as I have learned more. Regarding the need to take action, I would agree. The cabal is relying on everyone's passivity, and a lack of action is something the cabal can spiritually hold over us later on.
There's definitely people out there who are questioning things in this movement, who think we live in a sort of prison planet, a grid, a trap, where Earth is a controlled environment. I'm seeing more and more looking at things that way, but not nearly enough. What would you say is missing from the love and light movement?
The actual structure of the afterlife, they are not telling the truth about it, either because they do not know or they are covering it up. We see a lot discussions of guides, angels, dead relatives on the other side, this so-called white light people see after death, soul processing centers, reincarnation, a sort of soul cycle that goes on based on karmic deeds in Earth school, whereby souls are pushed back into lives on Earth. So this is being quite widely discussed, and generally in a positive way, and from there, the Cabal's minions enter the niche or field and begin pushing their agenda. Furthermore, we see a number of agents promoting entirely false ideas, suggesting there is no grid or prison system at all, and that upon death we are free to simply fly off and do as we wish. The topic is vast, Bill, so I am only touching on a bit of it.
I want to address this so it's not skipped over, and that's how so many people see Jesus after death. So many. It's so common in near-death experiences, but to me, so many times the Jesus they see seems really deceptive, like he's an AI or hologram. It's a form of discernment questioning, something I see almost none of among the love and light movement, and especially near-death experiencers. These people question nothing of what they see nothing. What's your view?
I will share my guide's view. She says these avatars of Jesus or God that people are seeing are complete and total deceptions, complete. If a person wants to know if they are speaking to the real Jesus, they must be direct and ask, or say something of the nature, am I being deceived right now, yes or no? Are you operating fully in truth and honesty toward me? Asking such questions will usually cause the construct to break down or retreat, but the soul must be direct in their intention and not let up in pressing the matter. The reason such questioning is not done more among the movement is because the experience is so overwhelming, certainly compared to life on earth, that the soul is taken in and taken up by it. What they do not realize is that deceptions in the next life are more intense and more believable than those in this life. We have to be mindful that after death we are not free from this satanic control structure, we are simply moving on to another level of it. Knowing that is the first step. Obsidian is not just a one-world currency and social credit software. It is a reset for this life and the next, as you say, and a control mechanism and ultimately a spiritual trap. When the grifters and agents claim that we as a human race are going to enter 5D and upgrade and ascend, and so on, they are not entirely wrong, but they are not telling the whole truth of it. The truth of it is that this is a cabal plan and has nothing to do with true spiritual awakening or anything good taking place. There is a progression in terms of the spiritual path of humanity, but it is a controlled one. It is dangerous and portends to the end times, the eternal nature of our souls, and where we will end up after death.
Life after the reset will be a miserable experience of control and having to follow these social credit rules. But you said that's already in place in the afterlife, what you've called the astral earth.
It is, you have shared with me a few people, a few experiencers, who seem to have actually astral traveled or left their bodies and found themselves in this environment. I shared some of that with my guide, and she felt they were authentic.
Yes, one of them is a girl by the name of Jen. She describes what sounds similar to Earth, but it's totally controlled. It's a lot like what you talked about in the previous The Cosmic Rules Are About to Change series. Listening to her description of it made me feel ill. I also found some references to currency or credits being used in the afterlife in this astral world, which was stunning, but aligns with what you said that USDR will actually be used there.
The currency of Earth via the astral is known as loosh or emotional energy too, but it is now being quantized into USDR, something that can be used as money in the afterlife. It is Obsidian for the afterlife, connected to the project here. Rarely, if at all, is the full picture ever allowed on large platforms.
I'm going to share with our readers some sources I found interesting. One of them is a channel called The Fracture from a woman by the name of Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. I began listening to her videos and I couldn't believe what she was doing. She was calling out one by one these grifters in the love and light movement and even using terminology like we use like agent frequently and how the world is run by the agency or cabal. Sometimes she says almost the exact same things we are saying. What did you think of what I shared? I liked her excoriation of Tim Tactics, a guy I see all over the UFO stuff, and she went after Darius J. Wright, a guy who just popped up the past couple years talking about how he can astral travel and how he's helping others learn how to do that, how to leave their bodies. I think these people might be on our gatekeeper list if we had looked them up.
I found that she often shared very honest, if not brutally honest, evaluations of many of these characters, very accurate, but in the same breath, she would make declarative statements almost nearly as wild and unfounded as the very people she was scrutinizing. So I would use discernment, Bill, as always, but I think some of her videos and evaluations are worth reviewing. They almost certainly would be on the gatekeeper list, so the fact she was able to identify them and call them out lends to her own discernment. But I would use caution, as she speaks with a great deal of bravado and authority, something I saw as a concern with her.
I agree she's really strong in her delivery. Have you watched Darius J. Wright's videos? I'll link to one of the most popular videos that introduces him. He's saying he's been able to exit or leave his body since he was a child. Dr. McGeorge said that he doesn't have real knowledge, he's just drawing from other sources. I'll also share another channel, This Is Be Inspired, a pretty big channel that puts out documentaries on different theories about the nature of reality. What did you think of it? There's also Forever Conscious Research, which we've talked about before and we really like the work done there.
I have viewed and seen Darius J. Wright's material. He is extremely accurate in his understanding of the soul and the body, the relationship there. I believe he has some genuine knowledge. But beyond that, his discussion of the astral plane I find concerning, because it is there he is not offering good insight. He is vague and appears to believe we are just creator gods, a theme very common in the love and light movement. While as souls we are certainly God's perfect creation, in that sense when we die and leave our bodies, we do not simply become gods ourselves or fly off and create worlds or do whatever we wish. He appears to be suggesting that. I disagree strongly with that. If he is advising that the Cabal control system does not extend beyond this life, I would be wary. As to the Be Inspired channel, it is good, general information on the nature of reality, but not enough to be threatening to the Cabal, so it is allowed to proliferate. Forever Conscious Research is very good. There is no Cabal connection with anything produced on that channel that I can see.
The ultimate question is how we prepare for death. Maybe you can open up things on this topic and then talk about how you see the economic collapse unfolding.
Certainly, we are looking at the very real possibility that an astral Earth awaits us. There is mounting evidence it is real, that it exists. After death, we transition to it. This transition is not instant into the astral Earth, though there is a waiting area, a void, then we are met with this light or greeted by guides, or we have a series of experiences that deceive us, then we eventually make our way to this reality. You will find within the love and light movement descriptions of our Earth realm being high density or low vibrational, which is true. It is true. Once our souls exit our bodies, we go back to a higher dimensional realm where there is no need for food or water, no need to maintain the body at all. But I have learned in the astral Earth, it is still a low enough density that restrictions can be put in place. Deeper agreements involving consent, control, a lack of action against the control structure here seems to carry over, where God is allowing this because we made the free will decisions not to fight anything here. I think once Obsidian is online here, that is the real test. Accepting digital ID is the first step, and once accepted, the decisions by each person carries over after death, because the Cabal is going to claim their soul, and on the astral Earth, Obsidian will be in place and be just as harsh, in fact, more harsh than it will be on our Earth. The US will be slower to transition than, for example, the UK, but we can already see the border control, the TSA, they are installing total biometric ID. We can see the US has real ID, Apple now has digital ID, on, it is happening there, but it will not be as forceful as the UK. Regarding the economic collapse, I did speak to one source who had an interesting perspective. They said you are going to see people in the West working harder for much less, fewer luxuries. They did not think a dramatic collapse would happen, just that the quality of life would drop for the vast majority, while a few at the top would actually see their lives improve a lot. We know those to be the sovereign class. They said eventually movement will be restricted by the mere fact people cannot afford to travel, and also through direct energy mind control manipulation. They said through 5 and 6G towers. I asked if they knew about Starlink and the nano dust, and they did not. They said there are central control hubs, totally secret, that monitor citizens non-stop, and through the towers, they can influence what people do, where they go. They said this fits into the 15-minute cities plan. They said the Cabal will not really impose 15-minute cities in most of the Western countries. The mind control will just influence people into creating them and living within them seemingly on their own. So not a total collapse in their view, just a managed decline. They also said a restructuring of the economy was planned, so as people lose everything slowly, the corporations will buy it all up. Then you end up with the rent economy the WEF talked about, what I referenced before in a past Intel drop. That is what they want. This person was someone with financial credentials. They were referred to me by a source and spoke to me candidly. They did not know about Obsidian, did not know about the nano dust, but much of their information was aligning with ours.
It's an interesting point of view. I found some posts on Reddit that fit into that. I'll share one talking about the AI bubble, some good information there, and another superb post talking about the economic doomhead. People know something is wrong, but they aren't prepared and there's no way out. I'm feeling the sense of panic in people now with the economy. It's getting worse by the month. It really is. But then, it's like Americans especially, they're in denial and want to keep up appearances. They want to put on a brave face, keep up with the Joneses. I'm stunned by how they're just taking it. You'd expect more of an uprising.
The Cabal created all of this so only they would have a way out, through USDR. The lack of mass public uprisings is conditioning and possibly testing of the nanotech. People are surprisingly docile, but we know why that is. The decline will continue and it will be shocking. I think we are already seeing shocking things, especially in the US on the ground level. People's lives are becoming a struggle, and the media is not reporting it. Or worse, the media is casually telling people to just accept it. Get used to a Christmas where Santa brings less. Or lab-grown meat is good and cheaper. These are practically headlines I have read. But if it is more of a slow decline without an abrupt collapse, that means people will adapt. They will not panic. They will get used to things being different. So I wonder if that is a psychological type of conditioning the Cabal's AI sees as more efficient. Abrupt collapses rattle people and put them into the streets. They anger people. A slow decline is like a pot that boils a frog. It does not notice until it is too late.
I'm with you. I think over the next 6 months, we're going to see big economic changes. We already are, whether it's a huge collapse or just a slow decline. We're on track for Agenda 2030 either way. All right, I want to circle back to the astral Earth, to USDR, to Obsidian, how this translates from here to there to the afterlife. Please describe that in more detail.
My guide says Earth will eventually be a prison planet, reserved for the Cabal, the sovereigns, with a population reduction coming, and with real humans left over and with robots and cybernetic humans taking a role. She says real humans will be at the bottom of the hierarchy. People will also have a choice to be altered cybernetically, but that is the ultimate deception. Those who make that choice may end up imprisoned in this Earth realm for hundreds of years, trapped. Others may be forced into it. I am speaking of restricted and quarantined classes, like most of those reading this Intel drop right now, forced into taking the cybernetic alterations, and they will not be given those extra benefits within the hierarchy. They will be a slave class that lives hundreds of years. Now, those who die and pass on in the coming years, they will face a new set of challenges. and my guide says most will end up in the astral earth, where the same Obsidian social credit system will exist and will be even harsher. I asked if seeking Jesus or God would be a way out. She said yes, but that the Cabal is developing a mechanism to stop our souls from seeking God. She said she is learning more how this is done, but it has to do with some kind of powerful energy source that will disorient our souls after death. She said one already exists, this white light, but they want to make a more powerful one, because the white light can be avoided if you have knowledge to avoid it.
That's horrifying. What about our team being sovereign status here that will carry over after we die? And what about people who don't believe any of this? Some people don't even think we have souls, they don't think there's an afterlife at all.
Yes, our mission will extend to the afterlife. My guide said our team will probably be targeted, but that we are divinely protected because of the mission. Something special is going to be done to confuse the dark forces on the other side. Something divine. She told me angels will protect us so we can carry on the mission. She said because the Cabal is developing powerful mechanisms to keep people from God, that God is doing the same to counter the Cabal, but that God cannot intervene for those who have rejected the truth and for those who accepted Obsidian. Regarding those who don't believe any of it, I think if someone is that deeply steeped in spiritual darkness, they would not likely even be reading these intel drops. We do have souls, and we are not just bodies in some lifeless, dead universe with nothing beyond it, but that is generally what the Cabal promotes, a dead universe. I intend to have a special, private article for our team about all of this ready by the end of the year. A very clear guide for how we will handle the afterlife when the time comes. What I am preparing is extremely important, but I want to ensure it is accurate.
Death is scary to most people, it's scary to me. How do you view it? What does the system look like? Is it AI-based?
With fear, too, that is natural, but also knowing there is more, and death will pass quickly. I think the bigger fear is how death comes for us. Will it be painful, frightening, scary? Will we get to say goodbye to loved ones? Will anyone care about us in our final moments? Will we feel we did not do enough good in our life? Will we have regrets? There is such a thing as death trauma that can scar the soul, where the soul will need some recovery from that. The afterlife realms actually offer such things by way of the light, but they too are deceptions. It is all a deception to lead one back into the prison cycle or into the astral earth. Entities, no matter how loving and inviting, should not be trusted without being tested. Most will flee or get angry when tested, and the system will use other means. Much of the system is AI-based. But the ultimate control comes from Satan. It is satanic in nature. I cannot emphasize more how evil, how vast, how intricate the control system is. Once on the other side, we cannot just say, "No, I am not interested in the astral earth," and go about things and just leave. We will be faced with an onslaught of deceptions and challenges, one after another. It is a maze. It is a maze for which escape requires utter dedication and intent.
You know what's so common in the love and light movement? They'll tell you you need this secret or you won't be okay. What do you think of that? Because I know you don't believe in that.
I do not, I am trying to impart advice here, but there is no special secret that you must know. You need to be prepared spiritually at your death. You need to have your intention ready. You need to want to bypass and fight against the deceptions. You do not need to pay someone a subscription to join their group and get their secrets to do any of these things. With that said, we fear Obsidian will change things, and that is what I am exploring with my guide. What is the Cabal doing in the afterlife differently? What deceptions are they trying to put in place? Will those who resist be faced with demons and a hell realm instead of a white light? That is a major concern, of course, that we may not even be greeted by the light at all, but instead by dark entities. We know they use powerful energy weapons to trap souls, wipe memories, and so on. These capabilities are real and very serious. I want to know more about how we can circumvent them, how we can call upon real guides, real angels to help us, and not the Cabal's afterlife agents who pose as such. I am still learning.
We spoke about this the other day, and that is the idea of the Cabal keeping people alive. You said that no gatekeeper is talking about this for a reason, and you're right, it's one thing I've never seen discussed anywhere. They keep it quiet. Please explain more about this plan.
Well, depopulation is part of the agenda, but it is more about who they want to get rid of. The COVID psyop and vaccines are going to eliminate about 2 or 3 billion people eventually, I was told by 2035. The vaccines will also reduce the birth rate, which we are seeing, which will keep Earth's population on the decline for some time. The COVID-vaccinated people are controlled by the cabal. Their souls are captured by the cabal, so they will move on to the astral Earth and serve there, serve to enforce Obsidian there. They will also be deceived. Just because someone took the vaccine, that does not mean they are evil. They are just steeped in deception, so the cabal will have many deceptions prepared for each of them, tailored for each of them. What has emerged in our knowledge is that the cabal is not as intent on killing the opposition here as we might assume. They already have the nano dust in place, they have Starlink in place, they are putting AI in place, and soon they will have cybernetic technology in place. They know how to extend human life. We now know there is a plan to keep people alive here as long as possible. Their reward is in compromising the souls of the opposition, of those who reject the reset bill. I have said this before. Killing us gives the cabal less of a reward than converting us or corrupting us. As for the cybernetic plan, first, there are cabal minions and servants, which we believe are mostly common class, who will be cybernetically altered and live hundreds of years. They will act as enforcers and enjoy a better standard of living, but they are not sovereigns, just cabal servants. Then you have the restricted and quarantined class, which would be almost all of those reading these intel drops. There are a number of specific plans for those classes that involve a variety of enforcement and manipulation. There is the intent to activate the nano dust within them so that they acquiesce and adhere to Obsidian. We are already seeing some of these people just give up now. They are not fighting. There is the plan to eliminate some of the most troublesome resistors, to kill them, but this program is largely complete. Some of the strongest patriots have already been removed, and in some cases, replaced. There is a plan to cybernetically alter some of these people, so they are made into slaves that do not die, who will be experimented on, who will serve the cabal. This plan is the most evil and terrifying. Finally, those who manage to escape all of the above will remain as restricted and quarantined class and live under oppression until their natural deaths, whereby they will move on to the astral Earth. All of this may sound hard to believe, but you cannot truly fathom the true evil of the cabal. I would ask our readers to simply look at the headlines, look at what the elites are saying, and believe them. They are telling you what they want to do. Yuval Noah Harari is a WEF mouthpiece who literally talks about these things. He doesn't mince words. Harari is giving us a preview. He is saying some of the things I am saying, not quite as directly.
How far off is this? If you dig deep, you can find tech that exists today that looks like it's out of a sci-fi movie, and the robotics is really taking off. So I know it's closer than people realize. And what about people who claim they can astral travel? I'm seeing a lot of that pop up all over.
The tech already exists, they are introducing it slowly. What I am speaking of will transpire between 2030 and 2045. Some of the more extreme shifts in society as a result of Obsidian would be post-2035 and beyond. Can the soul leave the body while the body rests and remains alive? Yes. Can it be done easily? No. If someone is truly doing that, they would be able to confirm it. They would be able to travel over to a friend's house, see what the friend is doing specifically, and then report on that later. That is an example. If they cannot do this, I do not believe they are leaving their bodies. I think they are likely having a lucid dream of some kind.
We talked about how the Cabal can trap and contain souls. This is really exotic stuff, but I see it talked about. What do you think, also? I hope people don't think we're so arrogant to say if they don't share our intel drops, they could be risking their spiritual lives. I want them to be shared, yes, but I wasn't going that far. Are we saying that?
It can be done. The technology involves high-voltage electricity, beams more powerful than anything on Earth. It does violate every natural law and God's law, unless the soul is somehow consenting. Unfortunately, we have seen the Cabal can come up with every reason under the sun why a soul consented to something. They could argue, they accepted the digital ID, so we can take their soul and put it in this container now, or they read all of Intel drops but did nothing. It seems outrageous, but my guide says the Cabal is successfully making these arguments. We aren't saying that people could risk their spiritual lives, by not sharing the intel drops. But our information is as close to true disclosure that exists right now. If someone reads it and does nothing, I think the cabal, if they find that out, they will use that as an argument. They will say, this person knew our plans, they did nothing. So it is very possible that could be done, that could happen. I know how the cabal works, they will do things like that. They are always looking for ways that a person consented to their evil.
Well, so much of our information has been proven right. It's been exceptionally accurate. People can go read the intel drops and see that. Plus, with the censorship and with so many confirmations over 3 years, we've provided good information. I stand by it proudly. Okay, checking my notes here. Is there a galactic federation that oversees our solar system and keeps an eye on the cabal?
Not that I know of, no. The entire thing is a creation of channelers who are channeling demonic entities.
Our team is Sovereign class in Obsidian. Will we face this cybernetic stuff? We will be expected to do any of that. What is the cybernetic tech exactly?
No, I have yet to see the cabal enforce anything with sovereigns. They just expect them to maintain the so-called party line after the reset. The nature of sovereign status is that their own rights are not infringed upon. Some will accept the cybernetic tech, some will not. We will not, of course, one. The cybernetic tech is similar to what Elon Musk is working on, albeit his versions are crude versions for public consumption. The cybernetics will provide artificial hearts, lungs, organs, implants that clean blood, nanotech that upgrades various facets of the brain and mind, increased lifespan, stamina, resistance to disease. It already exists, now they want to roll it out slowly. It also should go without saying that the upgrades will increase the link between the person, Obsidian, Starlink, and the overall grid they are building. Accepting it is, of course, not something anyone should ever do, because the secret plan is to keep certain people alive, those more compliant to the cabal's plans, which would be some common class citizens, and to force it upon restricted and quarantined classes. The cabal wants to trap the most troublesome souls on Earth for as long as possible. If technology improves, once they are able to keep people alive much longer, I expect they may be able to keep the soul trapped in the body for hundreds or thousands of years, or place them in underground centers for thousands of years. The cybernetics will also intervene to prevent suicide. They would do this too. Trap souls in this lower density realm as long as possible to keep them away from God. There is also another reason I would prefer not to disclose, as it would result in escalation. They are going to allow us to tell the truth, as long as we remain suppressed and shadowbanned and we do not wake many people up. But there are lines they do not want us to cross, which is why we have to pull back our efforts sometimes.
All right, this has been an incredible discussion. Thank you again for your time. I want to give you the last word tonight.
Well, I fear there is no time left for many to prepare. We are going to lose so many good people. That is what weighs on me, whether we did enough in the time we had.
I wonder that too. Our readers need to take action, like I said, share the intel drops, share our website. We can't do this alone. We don't have advertising budgets like the Cabal gatekeepers. All those channels people subscribe to, they're funded by the Cabal. It's not organic, for crying out loud. Virtually every large operation is Cabal funded. I'll give one example, this channel Next Level Soul Podcast. This is a huge channel and it's mostly near-death experiencers who are featured. I think the guy is a shady character who interviews these people. He questions nothing, he just pushes the agenda. But people watch this and think, I'm getting the truth here. No, you're not. It's frustrating, all of this, how blind people are to these things, no discernment, zero. One last one I wanted to run by you. We've talked about him before. Jeff Mara, very popular channel, mostly near-death experiencers, but also a lot of other types. Maybe you can tell readers what you told me.
Next Level Soul Podcast would be an example of a major cabal operation. Yes, there are many, usually run by trained agents who make their viewers feel comfortable and safe with them. Regarding Jeff Mara, his channel was built organically, and I do not believe he is a Kabbalist at all, but he features many agents without realizing it. The cabal sends their agents to contact him, and he features them, unfortunately. I do need to go at this time. Be safe, and we'll speak again soon. Good night and God bless.